21st Century Radio is sponsored by Hieronymus and Company. Now more of 21st Century Radio with your host, Dr. Bob Hieronymus.
It's a free concert from now on. That doesn't mean that anything goes. What that means is we're going to put the music up here for free. What it means is that the people who are backing this thing, who put up the money for it, are going to take a bit of a bath. A big bath. It's been a long time coming. It's going to be a long time gone. And it appears to be a long.
Welcome back to 21st Century Radio's Part 2 Woodstock 50th Anniversary Salute. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Hieronymus. Our executive producer and research assistant is Laura Kortner, and our engineer is Anita Brockington. I want to repeat that tonight's show is dedicated to the unrecognized heroine, Laura Kortner. Dr. Kortner is the hardest worker I've ever known and the best student I've ever had. She has served the Ruscombe Mansion Community Health Center and 21st Century Radio for over 30 years, never missing a show or a meeting. As president and founder of the AUM Esoteric Study Center, we are awarding her a doctorate in communications and higher consciousness in service to our Mother Earth. Now, on with the show. Our guests on this show are all living examples of the peace and love way of life made famous by the original Woodstock Festival 50 years ago. This hour, we focus on the recreation of my painted VW bus made famous at Woodstock in 1969. This project has spanned 3 years, and over 100 people have contributed in some fashion to restoring an old 1962 vintage bus and then painting it as an exact replica of the original. It is the subject of a film called The Woodstock Bus, premiering on Curiosity Channel, Stream Channel that is, on August the 12th. First up is Marlo Skinner. Skinner of Skinner Classics, a customized Volkswagen automotive shop in Northern California. Together with her husband, Robert Skinner, who was our guest on part 1 of this special last week, Marlo has overseen the entire restoration of the bus to get it into drivable and paintable condition. She has also played hostess and MC for the light bus, as it has been shown at various festivals this year, organizing all of our comforts and PR and marshaling support from the VW community. Welcome to 21st Century Radio, Marlo Skinner.
Hello, Dr. Bob. It's so nice to hear your voice.
It's so nice to hear your voice, dear. We owe you a great deal. You really do.
You owe me nothing.
Well, maybe I owe you nothing, you think, but we owe you a lot, because you know this bus. You know what it's about. You are a great teacher. You're one of the best I've ever seen, and you don't give up. You don't give up. And I really appreciate that kind of thing. I want to start with a big, hearty public thank you for all of the time and personal resources you and Robert and your entire crew at Skinner Classics have poured into this recreation of the Woodstock bus. We literally cannot or could not have done it without you, whether you like that or not. So
I love it.
You're a California native, and there are a lot of people with VWs out there. Why do you think that is?
Well, honestly, I think originally it was the affordability and the ease of maintenance. But once you've owned a Volkswagen, whether it's a Beetle, a bus, or a Carmagia, you're totally hooked. There's so many unique models, and especially the campers. The campers made it really great for a family vehicle for camping and adventures and togetherness. And isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How long have you been a VW driver?
Well, I actually learned how to drive and crash in my father's Karmann Ghia.
You had your practice at crashing?
I was about 12 years old, and I was sitting on his lap. He was controlling the clutch. I was doing the steering and the gas pedal. So we came upon this intersection a little confusing. I didn't know if I should go left or right, so I just went straight forward, ran over the stop sign, and ended up on somebody's lawn. Luckily, my dad didn't get in any trouble, but several years later, when I got my permit, he taught me how to properly drive the Karmann Ghia.
You had a Karmann Ghia?
I also drove a little Beetle when I was pregnant with our son Dylan until my belly couldn't fit any longer. And, you know, Robert and I had our first date in the very first bus that he ever owned, which was a panel bus, and he still owns it today.
Wow. But you have a number of cars, don't you?
We have quite a few.
Yeah. Why do you like VWs, and which model is your favorite?
Well, I love Volkswagens really because they make people happy and bring people and families together. You know, when you're driving down, you see old VW bus, it just automatically makes you smile.
Yep,
and I think that's really why I love them so much, is the happiness that it brings to people.
Indeed. Before you were approached to work on this restoration project for the light bus, were you already familiar with the bus? Have you ever seen any photos of the light bus taken at the original Woodstock?
Well, honestly, myself personally, I was not that familiar prior to the project. I do remember seeing some photos, but more than anything, hearing my husband talk about the Woodstock bus, especially, you know, after we acquired the movie from the bus from the movie at Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Ah, yes.
He always talked about how epic it would be to have the two most famous and important buses on the planet together. He was like, where did that bus go? What happened to that bus? Where is it? And now look, they're together again right now.
And
how can you ask for anything more?
And it's better than it ever was.
It's better than it ever was.
Yep.
It is a beauty, I tell you that. She's beautiful.
Does working on the light bus bring up any happy childhood memories for you?
Well, you know, I was raised by quite the hippie parents. It does bring out a lot of memories, especially of us living on Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco. I remember quite fondly watching the Hare Krishna parades from the rooftop of our apartments.
Oh, yeah, they were always good, yeah.
Yes, and, you know, hearing my mom's stories about working for the Grateful Dead, hanging out with Janis Joplin and Pigpen, which was her man. And, you know, after that, prior to moving to the hippie commune, Slide Ranch in Marin County, we lived with the members of the Jefferson Airplane, Grace Slick, Paul Kantner, and their daughter, China. My parents worked for them doing lighting and stage work.
How extraordinary. That is extraordinary.
It was pretty cool. So,
well,
you know, the house on the hippie commune at Slide Ranch that we lived at, my stepfather actually built himself out of driftwood and, shingles. So there was no electricity, no running water. We only had an outhouse. And it was just amazing. I mean, all of the family events that we had there and, you know, the tie-dye and the hair and the hippie and just everything. And that place now is still in existence. It is it's a nature conservatory, and it's an educational center for children. Teach them all about composting and natural living. And the house that my stepdad built is still there, and someone lives in it, like a seasonal volunteer who goes there and teaches the children.
Wow, jeez. Well, with every step of the recreation of the light bus, we've been facing deadlines. You and your restoration team had to push other projects out of the way and work around the clock in order to get the restored bus back to Baltimore in time for our painting crew. Now, I know you personally did a lot of reassembling yourself. What are some of the areas on the bus that have your fingerprints all over them?
Well, I had a big part in taking off panels, taking off small parts, keeping them very organized, labeling them, and keeping them ready for the guys to reassemble. You know, we knew that we were on deadlines. So there was this one situation which I will never forget. Our body man, Claudio, we had the bus on the lift, and I've never seen this before at our shop. We had the bus up on the lift. He was on a scaffolding doing body work up top while Robert, Frank, and our son Dylan were doing the engine work, you know, down below, just trying to get the engine and the training and just everything perfect for you to get it back to Baltimore, you know, in time. So it was very important to keep everybody on track with the deadlines and, hey, we got to get this done. We've got to keep this organized. We got to keep this neat and tight and ready to go.
What about, you didn't mention digging out the back hatch seal.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that. That took 5 hours. That's 5 hours of your life.
I did. I certainly did. It was the rear hatch seal had been glued in, and so you can't just tear it out or use a screwdriver or, you know, just go at it. You have to be very delicate. For one, I was, you know, protecting the beautiful paint job that you did. So I was given a ballpoint pen and a couple very, very small, delicate tools. And my fingers, of course, spent over 5 hours just scraping that out. And then I got the privilege of putting the paint back with that beautiful purple.
Oh.
And just knowing that I was able to do that and contribute in that manner and paint that, it means so much to me.
You did so many things on this bus, and I think that's one of the reasons why it has the kind of power it has, the kind of enthusiasm and your knowledge of what's going on. All of that, which most people don't seem to understand, when you do those kind of things, your consciousness is elevated. You become a different type of being altogether. You're here to serve others and not just yourself. And that's, I think, what I think we need to do at this particular time in our history. What has been your most memorable moment along the way with the light bus?
Well, my most memorable moment, one of them, was when we, you know, flew back to Baltimore and we went up to Owens Mills for the unveiling after you and the Light Brigade had finished all the painting. When those barn doors opened and we saw light complete for the first time, to me, it was pure magic. It was very emotional. I had tears flowing down my face. But most of all, having the privilege to paint one of the stars on the front of the bus, knowing that I'm a part of that universe is incredible. But honestly, Dr. Bob, meeting you, having the instant connection that I had with you, it's hard for me to explain. When I talk about you to my friends, all I can say is you're a truly special and important human being, and you just have to meet him.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, I know we're running out of time here, but I've just got to say this. I've been so impressed watching you master the job of communicating the symbolism to the public about the bus. You have done a great job on spreading that word around. I've watched you handing out the info sheets, and people trust you. So listen, and so they also listen to you, and they have embraced these ideas, which at first to them obviously have to be strange. You've done a great job, a great job. I'll never forget the debut of the light bus at the Volkswagen show on Octo in Southern California. And I know we're out of time here, but I want to tell our listeners that they can come out to the American Visionary Art Museum Monday, August the 12th at 10 a.m. and meet Robert and Marlo Skinner in person, along with the band Light, who will be performing at that time. And all artists who helped me recreate the light bus will be there. Everyone in the public is invited to the launch party for the recreated light bus as it leaves on its journey back to Woodstock 50 years later. And listeners, you will also be able to see Marlo and Bob Skinner in the new film called The Woodstock Bus, premiering on the Curiosity Stream channel on August the 12th. Go to curiositystream.com and subscribe today so you won't miss it. Thank you for joining us Marlo, I can't wait to see you and Robert in Baltimore soon so we can visit some of my murals, especially the Apocalypse at Johns Hopkins University.
We're looking so forward to it, and I can't wait to give you and Laura and Zahara a big, big hug.
Thank you very much. We need it. We really do. God bless you, sweetheart. Well, Jess Rasp is our next guest on this part 2. And we'll be right back.